What's up, everybody? It's the Let's Ketchup podcast, and we back.
How you doing? Volume 2.
Volume 2. And we got an esteemed guest right back with it with the esteemed guest game. We got it on point. Today, you can see our guest got us on point if you're watching the video.
For sure.
Right.
We got a little product placement.
Yeah.
It's Stitch early.
Hey, what's up? How y'all doing?
Hey, man, I'm doing well. How
That's
are you
what's up.
doing?
Hey, I'm fine, man. I'm here.
Why don't you-
You know what I'm saying? The Let's Catch Up podcast. I'm here.
We're here. We're
Yeah,
catching
for
up.
sure.
Catching up for sure. One thing you got to catch everybody up on is all these different hats you wear as far as, you know, what you do, all these titles you have.
Hey, that's the
You
I see what you
Did
did
you see
right
the
there. I
entendre
see what he
he
did
just
right
did?
there with
He
all the hats. And he got I see you. I see you.
Yeah. He said he's going to come out of Volume 2 early. With
I see you. I see you.
He's
That's
gonna
what's
pull
up.
early.
Oh, pull up early. I like
Come
that. I
on,
like that.
jeez.
Bars,
For
bars.
sure.
Why don't you tell everybody what you do, though? You gave a bunch of titles I couldn't remember now.
So a lot of people, you know, the name Stitch Early, they know me for, you know, the music side of things. I have a clothing brand by the name of Icon Nation that I run. If anyone heard of the Frederic Food Truck Festival, we threw the first annual one this year, planning the second one now.
Yep,
Yeah,
that
so
was
me, Chris Phillips, and Alex, who did she used to do Shut Up and Listen. So we got together, did the Frederic Food Truck Festival.
I heard it was a pretty good turnout.
Yeah, it was a great turnout. So
Yeah.
we planning the second one now.
Nice.
Just got the date and everything. So
Oh, nice. When is it?
yeah, it's gonna be June 13th.
June 13th.
So,
I think, is that the first time it's been said, the date?
Yeah, that's first time the date been
Oh,
said.
so it's
Oh,
groundbreaking.
yeah, first
Groundbreaking.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So
groundbreaking.
everything is in works now, getting things done for that. Graphic and web design, you know, I do that. I'm a
He was
dad.
in the middle of working
all
on
that.
our...
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
So we might have a website coming soon.
yeah. So all of
Via
those
Stitch
things,
Via
man, for sure.
Stitch Early.
So if any of the fans see that pop up, you already know who to thank.
Yeah, we're out
Yes,
here
sir.
working. He's working. We're working.
Yeah.
These hats are fire. I thank you.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, these the new.
He brought us
these-
merch.
The brand new Chosen Cat.
Right. Hey, it makes me feel like it's Cleveland, but it's not. It's Chosen.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's-
But it's chosen.
it's a
You know what I
chosen
mean?
person.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of a similar. Cleveland got.
Can
the
I ask you a
similar
question
vibe.
about Chosen?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Not the brand, just that term.
yeah.
Like, could somebody be chosen and not choosing back? Like, you know, does that make
Not
sense?
choose
Oh, you
back.
got
All right, so like you're chosen.
that was too deep for me. I was like, hold on.
I went 3 levels.
It's
Like if Harry Potter just was like, "Screw this, I'm not coming."
Yeah, like I don't like. So I've been chosen,
yeah.
but I don't want to participate. Are you still chosen at that point in time? Like you still get the perks and benefit of being chosen? Like you can't.
Yeah, like
unchoose
what's his name that played for the Dolphins, running back? Smoke a lot of weed.
Ricky Williams.
Ricky Williams was chosen to come to the NFL. He decided, hey, I'm trying to smoke weed. I ain't really trying to play football like
Right,
that.
right.
So he was chosen, but
Right.
you can also choose
To neglect.
to not to neglect whatever it was that you was chosen
Right. Do you
for.
think you still get blessed though, the same as like you were chosen still?
He cut them checks.
Yeah.
So the blessing was still
The
there.
blessing's still there.
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? But he chose to take another route with
yeah.
it. So he probably could have got more,
Right.
but wasn't able to get more because
'Cause I feel like-
he didn't choose to go forward with it.
Right. I feel like at times, sometimes, like, you know, even in my life, I'll
Yeah.
see myself, like, you know, we go back like 4 flats on a Cadillac.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? So, like, you know what I'm talking about when I say, like, you know, I feel like, you know, and catch me, like, I feel like I've been part of a chosen few.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
for sure.
And, you know, been blessed with gifts and
Mm.
stuff like that. But sometimes I have kind of withdrew myself because I didn't like the vibe I was getting from the chosen group, if that makes sense. Like being
Oh, no,
in
yeah,
that,
no, I feel you.
so I
Yeah.
withdrew myself, but it seems like I'm still getting the blessing because I still just focused on my journey instead of focusing on everything else around. So it, you know, I
Yeah.
kind of withdrew myself from identifying with all the chosens.
Nah, for sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because I think at the end of the day, like whatever it is, it's in you. It's just what you choose to push it towards. Like you think about like a Joe Budden,
Right.
where rap wise, he never made it. As more people know about him as a podcaster
Right.
than know about him as a rapper.
right.
Do y'all agree with that?
Yeah.
Like, would y'all agree with that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
He's been more successful.
so you could say he was chosen for something, and it's just that when he took it to another lane,
Right.
it still was. It's the same thing that made him. What's
The
make
rapper,
him good
yeah.
as a podcaster is what made him good when he was rapping.
Right.
He just took it into a different lane.
And to further that, some of the things that actually probably made him a bad rapper, like as far as the politics and all that stuff, probably makes him a dope podcaster.
Makes him a better podcaster.
So
exactly.
it's like you just kind of failed into success.
Exactly.
And
but it was in him.
Right. Yeah.
So
exactly.
It's kind of because we're on that tip. So you do Christian rap, is that correct? Or how would you categorize it?
So this is how
inspirational, not Christian.
So like how
inspirational.
I'm never mad at anybody for however they want to categorize it.
Okay.
I'm a Christian.
Okay.
I rap.
Okay.
If you want to say I'm a Christian rapper,
okay,
cool. What I always say to people is like, if somebody comes up to me and goes, "Hey, you are a great father," I'm gonna be like, "Yo, that's what's up." If somebody comes up to me and says, "You are a great black father," I'm not gonna be like, "Nah, I'm a father. I'm not a black father."
Okay, I like that.
Okay. I am a black father. I am a father. Both things are true.
Right.
When I go do my music, I do my music at Stitch Early. I do my music. I do what I do. I push it. What a lot of people will categorize it as Rel has said, is inspirational. You know what I mean? And in that, it's
you're just trying to.
I think one time I categorize it as safe, right? But it's not necessarily safe. It's his truth, and his paradigm of how he sees the world, and it's because he thinks in a positive note, and he thinks
that his music
projects positivity.
Nah,
it's not necessarily safe. It's so when I like I told him,
living.
Nah, and it's crazy because like I remember the like safe joint, and because mad people hit me.
Right. I know. I was bringing it up. Come on now, Come on.
Yeah, but and that's the thing. Like we talk,
Fill me in on what that is.
So like, it was a podcast. I'm not like a podcast, but it was
a Shoot from the Hip, another production that I'm involved with.
And it was Ricole, Jay Bird, and these are all people I know. So it was Ricole, Jay Bird, Rel, and Kiki. So I came up just in topic, and it was like, like Stitch is like safe. And so, like, when I heard it, of course, when you hear the word safe, you automatically be like, what do you mean by safe?
Yeah,
right. So I had to clarify it now.
People who contacted me about it, I wasn't as tight about it because I know them.
Right.
So I know it wasn't coming from a malicious place. It was coming from for a lack of a better
word. Right.
Term.
In the moment.
And it was in the moment. It wasn't like a...
Right. It's called shooting from the hip.
Think about it. You're shooting from the hip.
Right.
Well, what I will say is that when I hear the word safe, it seems like you're calculated to try not to make mistakes. But I don't take that from your music. When I actually listen to your music, it seems like you're spitting stuff that is in you, in your life.
Yeah, and so it's like I can't... For me, I just
can't...
I can't rap about... And this is just me personally. I can't rap about anything. Hold on one second. I have my daughter here, so
yeah, it's all right. Introduce your daughter. You want me to
put them on?
What's your daughter's name again? Michaela. How you doing, baby girl?
Here you go. You gotta turn it back on.
Says good.
Here you go. So for me, when I think I agree more with like what Rel said in the sense of I just can't. When I talk about my wife and I talk about my daughter and my grandmother who has Alzheimer's, and these are true things.
Right.
I can't tell you about the Glock and the whip.
Right.
I can't tell you about
but that's the
sold last week.
The kicker to it.
I don't have
never did that.
Speaking of,
catch to it.
I know a few guys that act that tough, and the incident that we all know about. He doesn't live that life.
Right. So, don't even go there. Don't go there.
I'm not going to go there, but you know.
But what people don't know is Lorenzo. I had a car, and Lorenzo dropped. What was it? Was the album?
Was it All Rise?
All Rise.
All Rise, yeah.
The first one. First one, right?
Yeah.
So I got a copy of that, right? It was the only CD that went in my CD player and never came out till I got a car accident. And I was like, yo, I can't leave the CD in there. So for people to call him and be like, yo, Rel said this about, I'm like, yo, that's the only CD I listen to when I'm driving on a country road.
It wasn't even you. It was like, yo, did you hear what I was like, yeah, I saw the interview.
You remember that?
And I was just like, because I know them.
Right,
if it was two other people,
right,
I probably would have been like, oh, okay. So safe.
But remember that conversation we were having earlier?
Which one?
About how people will draw so much on negative perspectives.
Yeah.
Instead of like saying, oh, maybe.
And it's for me, that's my life. Like, I'm the glass half full guy.
Well, like, I ain't know that. I like the positivity.
You know what I'm saying? Because we can all look at the glass and be like, yeah, it's half empty. Like, anybody could do that. or I could figure out, okay, how do I get the rest of this in here? Right. You know what I mean? And for me, when I do my music, you got enough going on in your life that what I need to give you all the negativity in my life for.
Yeah, why do I have to put my drama on you?
I'm dealing with it by putting it out. And a lot of times when I'm doing my music, it's as much as it is for people, it's therapeutic for me.
Right.
So when I'm doing it, it's me talking to me in a sense,
speaking
like, yo,
the truth.
I got to get through this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I think with the back to Rel saying it's safe is interesting because I think a lot of music or entertainment today is fantastical. So it's about fantasy. So I think when I hear him say safe, it's almost like real. It's like it's weird to hear people talk about actual life.
Nah, I feel you.
Like Wale is another person where his album comes out and it's just like a bunch of the shit you've actually been living.
Well,
like
I'm just having a thought right now.
Bunch of mundane details.
It's like almost like everything's so extreme. So you have to be extreme balling, or extreme sexy, or extreme this, extreme that. Right. And then just to hear somebody say, no, I'm just a regular dude that's having the same problems as you, it's kind of weird that people don't want to be that because reality TV is a thing. Yeah. So, like, that is the most relatable thing
reality TV it's literally set up to, it's designed like a porn. It's designed like porn.
I was saying to you about when I met my idol, Matthew McConaughey. When was, you know, the perception that you have to generate drama is nonsense because you're gonna as life goes on, you're gonna have natural drama. Yeah. And if you're just creating drama so that you can sell something, that's a gimmick. And gimmicks don't last. People like Wale that are talented, J. Cole that are talented, they don't have to generate gimmicks like Kardashians and all that stuff to be relevant because people that they have that cult fan base because they're like, oh, he's gonna give me 110% of, like when I listen to your album, you know, which was dope. I like the box and all that stuff. Like, yeah. That man brought it out there. He was like, here, man. I was like, thank you, man. I was like, that's what's up, man. But anyway, he had me a little box and everything. He had like a bag. I was like,
almost like the David Banner joint where like he's made it like a whole like product.
Yeah. It was a whole product.
That's dope. That's dope.
I keep wanting to go back and be messy.
Best marketing rollout in Frederic.
I still want to be messy and like call it up to, but about like the whole. But anyway, like that whole thing was an experience, right? And regardless of what anybody says, I'm still shooting little shots here. Regardless of what anybody says, it was an experience and it was you, and you delivered you in that experience
for sure.
So like every song I could. And knowing you for as long as I have, I could see you in it. Whereas, you know, some people rap and sing, and I don't even know who you are.
Got you.
When I hear what you're saying, I'm like, that doesn't even seem like you.
And that's another reason because I know a lot of people in Frederic. It's hard for
you can't get away with flexing.
I never want to come off fraudulent.
Right? Yeah, you can't get away with it.
Like if I was to hop on a record and be like, yeah, it was in the club last. Everybody be like, Zoe don't be in the club. Like, that ain't Zoe. Like Zoe don't even be doing it like that. When I do go out, people be like, oh, you out?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's that type of thing. So why would I get on record and rap about it and then give you something for you to listen to and be like, yo, everything I just heard, I just feel like I listened to a whole lie.
Right, yeah. And we were actually talking about that with and I guess we can roll right into that. The Kanye album is... For me, it's hard. Like I'm a big artistry fan. Like it's more than just the music and the industry part of it. I want to hear your artistic ability. Yeah, and the way you do things. Also, sometimes like lets me like relate more to it as an artwork, like expression and making me feel emotion.
Okay, got you.
So like I think the Kanye album is dope, but I don't know if it's artistic or a gimmick.
So when I went into listening to the Kanye album, I threw the gimmick part out.
Okay.
Because at
you
the
gotta
end,
give
at
it
the
that
end of the,
honest.
I have to give it
one
honest.
If
I go into it and I go,
I agree with you.
Oh, yo, he might be faking about all of this because he did X, Y, and Z beforehand. Then I'm gonna go into it like with an already biased opinion of not liking it.
Right.
So I had to go into it like I'm just listening to this as a Kanye.
Right.
Kanye as an artist who I feel has always giving me a different album every single time. And I love that fact of it.
Right.
And
really
like,
does.
I thought after my first listen, I was like, I could have not listened to this.
Oh, I liked it.
Like after the first listen, I was like, I could have went through my day and not heard this, and I would have been cool.
As far
Where's
as
my
hear
hour back? Give me that hour back.
Yeah, give me this hour back, and I'm good.
I liked it though.
But you
Not, and I'm not saying off of a bad or good.
Right,
I'm just saying off
it wasn't
of
impressionable.
It wasn't impressionable enough for me to go, oh, yo, number 5, I got to play that again.
Right,
Oh, number 6.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Where it had that playback ability, and then I went and listened to it a second time, and really realized like if you were to actually take Kanye off of the album,
it would be
a
good album, yeah.
a very good album. But
That's
it also
people say that that's not the first.
But it also
album
let
people
me
have
know
said that about
because
either.
Kanye is very much an artist that, as much as he is the genius in the machine,
right.
he has a lot of pieces around him.
Right.
And you can sometimes tell when those certain pieces
Are injected.
aren't there.
Right.
You can tell when they're not there.
Right.
And so in listening to it, I could be like, okay, he wasn't really
True.
he wasn't
That
in the
is
studio
very
with him when
true.
this happened.
Okay.
Or this person wasn't. So he's a genius, but Kanye to me is a genius
Is that
more in the
productive?
sense of Bill Gates, not Bill Gates, more in the sense of Steve Jobs than Bill Gates.
Right. Okay.
Bill Gates is sitting in the place like, yo, I know exactly how this chip works. I built the chip.
Right. Exactly.
Steve Jobs is going like, yo, this phone looks dope. I'm going to get the 15 people to come and build the phone that I want them to see.
That's a good comparison.
So Kanye, as much as his
an
hands are in it,
orchestrator.
you'll look at the list and you'll be like, oh, he played the drums on this. He played the keys on this. He wrote the hook for this.
He's
He
an
did this.
orchestrator.
He's an
Yeah,
orchestrator.
exactly.
And so his genius.
He's still one of
He's
the
a true
great-
producer.
He's a true producer.
He's one of
He's
but he's also one of the great actual beat makers.
Oh, yeah. No, I give you that.
It's still production,
But
no
that's
matter
still
how you look
production.
at it.
Producing
Like
music.
Diddy doesn't necessarily sit and be like,
Yeah.
But Diddy,
Diddy is the
Exactly.
producer.
It's
I-
Barry Gordy.
Barry Gordy,
the,
yeah.
Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones, yeah,
you know,
definitely.
I feel like, just to give my little comments or whatever,
Mhm.
I do feel personally, and I didn't expect this to happen, I did get inspired by the album
Mhm.
because I feel like
Millennials.
and then look. That's what's funny is, but the funny thing is most people my age,
That was a great
most people
song.
my age is like cancel Kanye. Like most of them,
He said it. He's like,
really
y'all don't
won't-
bang with him.
Mhm.
Right.
But there's a good reason though. I mean, you can't. I feel like that all that shit aside. I wanted to listen to it just because I'm one of those people where it's like one of my homies is a debate champion from Bronx, and he schooled me one time out. We was watching some award show. You know how all the award shows is white, and I was like, yo, why are we watching all this white ass racist ass award show?
Mhm.
He said, hey, you can't complain about nothing you don't know about. So after that, I have to, like you said, I have to give that honest and first listen.
Yeah.
I gave it.
I agree.
I gave it that first listen, and there was like, it's not even so much the stuff he's talking about, more so I feel like just through the sounds that he's conveying, he's feeling like he's feeling like the attempt to redeem himself, regardless of what you think about him, who he is. Just as a human being struggling to redeem themselves, like
So-
I could feel that through the sounds, just through the
the
first beat hit, like I could feel a human being.
Because that's his
trying to-
thing. He's conveying.
Yeah.
He's speaking his truth through his music.
Through his
So
music.
I don't know.
Which Kanye
But
is.
I'm not taking.
And when I
I'm
felt
not taking
that,
away
I was
from
like,
him
yeah.
because he's been. I was watching the Big Boy TV interview, and he said something that I can truly attest to and understand from his perspective. That he, when Big Boy played that, he said 10 years ago, I'm a vessel. I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna do what I do, and 10 years from now, I'm gonna be doing some Christian thing. So now Big Boy,
Revolutionary.
revolutionary
Yeah.
Christian,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And he said, Big Boy was like, is this still a part of your plan?
Mhm.
And Kanye said, nah, you know what? In layman's terms, before he does what Kanye does, in layman's terms, he said, nah, look, I went through depression. I lost my mother. I lost everything I did. I had to battle with the mental disease to get here.
Yeah.
So to me, he's speaking his truth,
Yeah.
and this is where he ended up.
Yeah,
even though he predicted
he
it.
said I
hear you,
planned.
but
He said
part of-
this was my plan,
plan-
but I didn't plan to get here this way.
Right.
I didn't plan to
Pardon
get here
me,
this way.
but I still do not necessarily like. I have to see what happens next.
You're not
I
buying
agree.
it. You're not buying
I
it?
agree.
So I'm not. Why would I? Everything he's done for the last 5 years has been a gimmick.
And I agree with that.
hold on,
But
hold on,
and
let me
so
finish.
like
So I have to sit there and be like, okay, the music sounds dope because that's all I really am listening to is the music. And then after that, I have to
Siri,
say, okay,
dropping.
am I able to buy back into Kanye as a movement?
Gotcha.
So am I able
And that's
to?
the dangerous part
That's
about
the dangerous part
Yeah.
about it, because I don't know, because I do want to now support, like they had Sunday services, all these things that gimmick to this point. You know what I mean?
It's
It's PR stunts and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So now it makes me think he's well calculated in doing things with purpose,
Mm-hmm.
which could just be what he's inspired to do, but could also be
He's a
complete
brand.
I get it,
Yeah.
but it doesn't allow me, because what he's trying to do is very close to my heartstrings. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And galvanize people and make people. That's what we're trying to do.
Well, I was
So-
agreeing with you.
Yeah. So what he's trying to do is also what we're trying to do on this podcast. So when somebody comes in fraudulent and not genuine, it rubs me a type of way, because
Gotcha.
you don't deserve to be in this space if you're just manipulating people.
But he's also speaking on that. He's speaking on that the culture has lost its way. He's speaking out, not necessarily against what kind of he is, against the microwavable music. What do you?
But
say?
he made 10 albums.
But he
with
said
seven tracks.
But he said that. He said, "Yo, that was a part of his journey."
That's
He
BS.
says that.
That
Okay.
specific part though is BS, because the whole 7 album track, that was very specifically about him and his music deal and trying to get around the legalities of his contract. So I mean,
all convenient. It
a
all
lot of
seems
it, Kanye is very good at living his life, making the music, and then taking all these narratives together. And when it's time to, I have to present a brand,
Creating it.
all these things that didn't have anything to do with each other.
Yeah.
I think he almost convinces himself like this is all one story, and
That's
And I
great
think-
marketing.
and that's what he presents.
And
to
I
the
think
world.
what people love about Kanye West ends up being the same thing that they end up hating about Kanye
Right.
West.
I say it all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we love the fact that he speaks his mind, and until he speaks his mind, and
Until
it's
he
not
says
what you
something.
agree with. Like, when he said, "Hey, George Bush is racist,"
Don't-
everybody was like,
doesn't like
"Yeah."
black
people.
But when he said, "Donald Trump, you like my dad," it was like,
oh,
he's doing the same exact
is the same
thing.
thing.
Like, it's the same
It's when he
exact
doesn't
thing.
sing what you want him to
It's
sing.
just not what you want him to say. So when I think at the end of the day, how I try to look at certain people, I go, you are who you are.
Yeah, take
Like
it with
there's
a grain
some
of salt.
people that I take with a grain of salt. You are who you are. So if this is a person that I see is wish-washy, is always that way, when it ends up, and I seen he was that way with you all the time, and I was like, all right, whatever. But then he's that way with me, and now I'm mad.
Right.
I'm like, nah, I seen him that way
Well,
with
that's
Tony.
what I
Like,
told-
so
that's what I told him.
I knew he was
earlier.
gonna be that way with me.
I told him earlier when we were discussing the album
Mm.
that I literally had to just take it for the music.
Yeah,
I can't
yep.
buy into your movement anymore.
Yeah.
But you made a good album, and I'll leave it
Mhm.
at that. Like, I don't know anything else.
Yeah,
But you mentioned dads.
Mhm.
You're a dad.
yeah. Oh, as we can see.
Yes.
Yeah.
She is. He's certainly the
You
evidence
see-
of the evidence
you
of
see
your
the
fatherhood
growth
is
in You see
You know
the
what I'm
growth and
saying?
reduction, however.
Sure, you
I
know what I'm saying?
segued.
See your segues out here.
the evidence of your fatherhood
Yeah,
is
I've been
running
reading.
around this
Exactly.
You
joint.
see, I've been reading stuff.
sure.
So one thing that
Hey, baby girl.
I know very well about you is that you're a very family-oriented person.
Yeah.
And how important is our fathers in our culture specifically, and just in general?
I'll say for me, like, yeah, my dad was like very vital
Right.
in every aspect of my life. You know, my dad was in the military, so he was the dad that, of course, was there all the time. But then when it's like TDY for 2 months or,
Mhm.
you know, things like that, having him there, I got to see, I'll say probably moving to Frederic was the first time where I seen where it was like, I had friends who didn't have dads,
Mm-hmm.
and certain people there would be like, yo, why you got a dad?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Almost resentment.
Almost
You
like
have-
resentment.
Like you have a gravy life. 'cause
Yeah,
of
like,
that.
and I think
I did actually think that.
Yeah, and I
I think
think
we've had
That's crazy that
Yeah.
that fatherhood is a privilege. To have a father is a privilege.
it's crazy.
That's-
like,
that's
crazy,
nuts.
You just
like,
hit on
that
that. It
becomes
is
that.
like, and that goes back to like a lot of privilege things.
Yeah, so I think, you know, seeing those types of things, and then a lot of it, I don't even think you really kind of realize until later in life. You know what I mean? Like, I remember
walk in front of the cameras
seeing-
and everything.
like, I remember seeing, you know, my dad definitely was the father to where it's like, I was cool with my dad being my dad. Like, I wasn't the kid that was like, Dad, why you got to be around?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
my dad always knew everybody.
Right.
So, like, my dad would know people that I didn't even know.
Right.
And it's like, I want you to know that that's my pops.
Oh,
You know
okay.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that type
yeah.
of
That was
thing.
always cool with me. Like,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
He would
So
always be like, "Yo,
he
when
was
you
always
yeah,
he was
I get you.
always like all my friends call my dad Pops.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he was just always that way.
Yeah.
So for me, like, it was super vital. And even me being a father, you know, with having a 14-year-old, having a 2-year-old, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was vital in.
What does that mean to you, though? Like, as far, not just your dad, like, but what is the importance, like, to give our audience something, like, as far as, like, to inspire them, is what's important?
Well, can I ask it? Can I ask it in a little bit of a different way? Everyone called your dad Pops, right?
Yeah.
What do you think it was that they were getting from your dad that they was calling him Pops? Because it's like he wasn't their dad, but he was to a different extent. Like, what was that?
I think sometimes, like, when you're around older people, like, it can be that thing of, like, there's no relatability.
Right.
Like, I just look at you as, like, you're just an older person. Like, that's it. There's nothing that I can relate to. And I think for my dad, he was always the dad that was relatable. Like, my dad, I could go to my dad and talk to my dad about whatever.
Right.
Like, it didn't even matter. It was open door policy. And it wasn't like, hey, I'm about to talk to you about this. Right. And then you're going to wild out on me. Right. Because I'm talking to you about this. So it was never those types of things.
He was just very relatable.
He was just very relatable. So when my friends would come over, it's like, hey, don't be doing this, don't be doing that. But it
was like we're on the same level.
We on the same page, but I still know that the respect that I got to give. Because my dad ain't play. Like,
right. Yeah, I know. Your dad done pulled me aside a couple times. Like, he might have pulled me aside in North Carolina, or that was your mom. Like, I think it might have been your mom. Your mom was outside with me for a while. Exactly. But one of the things I want to know is, personally for you, right, what is the things that you try to instill from fatherhood to something tangible that we can give our audience to say, focus on this, to be able to, if you are a father, focus on these things, or that these things have worked for me and are making my kids better or whatever?
I think just being in the moment.
Right.
Like, I just think in life, just in general, with so much going on, just, you know, as adults and stuff like that, so much going on. There's sometimes like you could be in the room with your kid and not be in the room with your kid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many distractions now that
work.
I know people that grew up with a father in the house and couldn't tell you two things about their pops.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because he's there, but he's not there.
Right. He's disconnected.
So for me, I'll say one of the things that I didn't have growing up, like, as great as my upbringing was, like, the one thing that I didn't have, I never did, you know, basketball camps, and, you know, different things like that. I never got to do those things because we were always moving. Right. You know, mom and dad was working. So it's like, for my generation, it's like you just find stuff to do.
Right.
If you want to play basketball, you end up going and finding the league and playing in it. You know what I mean? It's, hey, mom, sign this, and I'm, you know, go about my business. So for me, with my kids, it's like, my son wants to play basketball. It's like, oh, cool. What camp you want to go to? What do you want to do this with her? She likes music. Right. She has a guitar at the house. She's about to start getting, you know, guitar lessons and stuff like that. So I think for my parents' generation, and y'all could probably relate, was the generation that was like, you go to work and, like, that's what you do.
Right.
I know you have dreams and aspirations, but you go to work and you pay these bills.
Right.
And that was my parents' generation. Like, it was definitely that.
And that was doing your job.
And that was doing your job. That's what you're supposed to do.
I made sure I put food on the table.
Yeah.
This, that, and we all had that talk. I put food on the table. I pay the rent. You ain't doing what you're supposed to do. So blah, blah, blah,
that's
blah.
The end of the story.
And I don't want to be your friend. I'm not your friend. I don't want to know what you got going on. Do what I say do.
I said something to my mother. It's funny how y'all brought that up. And I got y'all by a few years. I said, Ma, you taught me how to struggle.
You Uncle Phil.
I said, Ma, you taught me how to struggle. She was like, boy, I gave you a roof over your head. I put food on the table. Yeah. I made sure that you had clothes. What you do after that is what's up to you. Mm-hmm. But what I was trying to say was, you taught me to be a strong man.
Exactly.
To overcome the struggle. Sure. But being me, I got to say it in the most...
You automatically,
I say it in the most peculiar way that I could.
Nah, for sure.
I get that.
And so I think those are the things, like you were saying, I think those are the things.
Now, for some of my listeners like myself, and we didn't have fathers. Like, I definitely will say that your dad has actually pulled me up a couple times and had conversations with me, said something about how I was moving or acting or whatever.
Yeah.
So one thing I did realize as I start, as you get to a certain level of manhood, you start analyzing yourself and criticizing honest criticism, and taking honest evaluations of who you are and what you are as a man and what you're. So the biggest thing that I noticed was that I didn't even know what I was missing from a father. It just felt like a big void in that area, but I didn't even know what that void entailed and what I needed to have and what I should have had and what I didn't have. Is there anything that you've noticed from having friends that didn't have fathers, and ones that you did that they were like, man, your dad taught me something, or something that you got taught that you thought was like intricate to your well-being, or that somebody wouldn't understand if they didn't have a father?
I don't know per se like there's something that somebody wouldn't understand if they didn't have a father, just because I think even for friends that I had, like I said, that didn't have fathers, there's a lot of them that can point to some man or someone that kind of gave them those things. You know what I mean? So my dad, like growing up in my household, it was very like, my dad is from Brooklyn for one, and then he was military. Right. So it was like street dude that went to the military. Like, so it was like super hard.
Right, like, right. Hard for no reason. Yeah.
Just my dad was just hard for no reason. Right. Like Frederic was
gang banging on bacon.
Frederic was the first place I came where like I seen my dad like smiling and talking to people. Yeah. Like, so it's like, yo, what brought about
this ain't even dad. Yeah.
Saying like, who this dude? Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Before that, it was like nobody could spend the night in my house. It was like if I went to my dad and was like, hey dad, can Tony spend the night? He's like, you live here. If Tony want to stay at my house, he can come ask to stay at my house.
Dang.
And my friends would be like, I'm going to just go check with my brother.
I'm going to just go home.
See if you can just come over to the crib. Right. That's just the type of, you know what I'm saying, dude he was. But getting older and having kids, I understand it now. Right. It was teaching responsibility. Like, this is my house. Anything going on in this house comes through me. Right. I'm not just having anybody stay in my house, especially if they can't come to me and
ask me. I don't care if they're 10.
Don't care if they're 10. Exactly, for sure. You know,
those are the upbringings. That's the upbringings of what we're saying. Why is the man not in today's society? What's lacking? We're missing that. Exactly. That's why they call them pops, because pops had that knowledge to give to you as a man, and just
that you might not have understood.
Right, simple stuff like
then
that.
It's like, because then I'm like, Dad, why you gotta ask? Like, but then you get a house.
Then you get you understand,
and you paying bills, and you like, yo, I pay for all of this.
Right.
Oh, I see what he was saying now.
Right.
You get it, you know,
it's
after
almost
that.
disrespectful if you don't. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
The one thing that I came to when I sat down and thought about that, because I really did sit down and think, like, what would I love to have instilled in me from not having a father, and what I wish I would have had was the instillment of discipline.
Got you, yeah.
That not like punishment discipline, but like
discipline in the true sense.
Discipline as far as you're saying, all right, just because something's there, you don't have to do it. Just because something's, teaching you how to like have patience, discernment. I don't know everything that goes into discipline. Yeah, I'm still working on it.
Hey, we all are.
But being disciplined and having regimented stuff and knowing the value of saving money and doing all this stuff, I feel like the discipline of all those things would have saved me a lot if I could have had a father that taught me that.
And like, so I agree with that to a certain extent. And I only say that because I had my father and some of those things. No, he taught, but a lot of times it's for the kid to go, I'm going to pick up on that.
Like I said, my mom said, I gave you what I gave you. It's up to you to pick up the rest.
Now, and I think what she said is super key because I feel that way, like with my kids. Like I remember telling my mom, like when my son was born, and I remember being like, Mom, yo, and my mom saved, church. And I'm like, hey, Mom, I'm about to have a kid. And she's like, oh, what did I do? Where did I go wrong? And I'm like, you wasn't in the room doing nothing. Like, you didn't have anything to do with this.
Right.
This was something I did. Yeah. So what that showed me is at the end of the day, your parents can show you the way. They can give you the path and say, hey, if you go this way, at the end of this tunnel, this is what you're going to get. I now have to take the steps to get to the end of the tunnel. Right. I see it because my dad has brothers that grew up in the same household,
right, that are totally
by the same parents. And if you met them compared to him, you would be like, nah, it's no way that y'all came up at the same time.
I think that's how I kind of look at you and Antoine.
See, but that even with me and Antoine is different. I think me and Antoine is just, we went different paths.
Right.
We went different paths to get to the pot of gold.
Right,
For me, I was never a school person. I don't have no yearbooks from high school. I don't have nothing from high school because I was just like, when is 12th grade? When is graduation? Give me my diploma. I'm out.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? So whereas Antoine was like straight A student.
Right.
I'm going to college. I'm getting my degree.
Right.
That was Antoine's route there. Me, in my heart of hearts, I've always been an entrepreneur just from, stealing candy back in the day.
Doug Funny.
To sell, you know what I'm saying? Making hoodies back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, so I always did those types of things. I was always an entrepreneur. So I think you have that, but then you'll have a household you have two kids raised by the same person. I think Michael Eric Dyson.
Right.
Michael Eric Dyson, the scholar. His brother is in jail for life.
Right, yeah.
Same household.
Right.
Same parents.
Yeah.
Two different paths.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, even when the parents do instill, because I also know some people that grew up in pretty rough households, but you wouldn't know it from the person they became because they chose to go the opposite direction of where they grew up at.
Yeah. The only thing that I would add to that is the introduction of it.
Got you. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Nah,
it never was put in front of my face
to even have the choice.
A choice.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Nah.
Like never even saying, "Hey, do you want this red or green pill?" Just being like, "I didn't even know those pills existed." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that is killing our community and culture. Things that we don't even know are options.
Mm-hmm.
Not to even say we've chosen them or not, but to not even know they exist.
Yeah.
Not even know that there's healthier options to eat, or there's healthier ways to live, or you can do this. Because one thing I've noticed with hanging out with a lot of different type of people is they all do the same shit.
Yeah.
They all do the same shit, and the only difference is the discipline and what they're doing it with.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the privileged friends that I have that have better lifestyles don't even know what Paul Masson or E&J is. And I was drinking that at thinking I was living the life.
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you drinking that for? Like, why? You know what I mean? And then you drink what they drink and be like, wow, I didn't wake up with a hangover. I didn't waste no days. My whole weekend wasn't over after I got drunk.
If I drank, I would know all of this.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. All I'm saying is there's certain things that you wouldn't even know unless you were exposed to it.
Yeah.
And then once you're exposed to it, then you can make a more rational decision. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I feel you.
Off of that, you mentioned your son. How I think blended families are pretty normal nowadays, right?
I would say
Blended
2019,
blended as in
a blended family is like where it's not all
nuclear.
It's not both parents created all.
It's not a nuclear family.
Exactly. Yeah. So, what are the for some of our male listeners, because we have a lot of male listeners, what is some of the things that you've taken away that could help dealing with that? I know you probably have its struggles and its complications. What is the key things that you have to keep in mind?
For me, the biggest thing that I do is just it's about him.
Right.
Like if I make it about
that's tough.
And I think for me that's been the biggest thing is
especially man to man.
Yeah. So like anytime me and his mom, we done went through it. We done had the greatest ups, the greatest lows, and then sometimes just been like, hey, we just gonna be cordial. Right. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the thing that I always go back to is it's about him.
Right.
So if this situation, like me being mad at her, is that affecting him in a positive or a negative way?
Right.
So for me, that's the biggest thing is just remembering, because he lives in Alabama.
Right.
Is just remembering like whatever I do, it has to benefit him.
Right.
If me going back and forth with her ain't gonna benefit him, then I'm not doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But also with him, he's 14 now, so I can be real with him.
Okay.
I can have real conversations.
Right.
I can go, hey, you're not coming this summer? Well, the reason you're not coming this summer is because of this.
Right.
And if it's me, I can say it's me. If it's her, I can say it's her.
Right.
Because he's old enough now to be able to differentiate and see.
Have you had moments where you weren't able to like hold the punch, or you threw the wrong punch? And I'm just talking metaphorically, not real punches.
Nah.
Like, like you, because I do that a lot.
Yeah.
Like where like, even if I go talk to other people, they totally understand what I was saying.
Yeah.
And that I was on point. But it wasn't the right time to say that, or
Okay,
it wasn't it wasn't the right context to say that. That's a struggle.
Nah, that definitely, that's
like I was 100% right, but I just probably shouldn't have said it right.
And I'll say it was probably harder when he was younger,
right,
than it is now. I think when he was younger, I was younger, so I was 21 when he was born. So I'm still trying to figure out how to become a man. You know what I mean? Right. So back then it was a little bit harder to be like, okay, this I can say, this I can't say. It's like, nah, I'm mad right now, so I'm gonna just say whatever
exactly.
And then you go, man, right. the ball is already, I think, for just being 1,000% real. Right. Anytime you have a child with a woman and that woman is staying to be in that child's life, right. the ball is already in the woman's court.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think the one thing that is bad about just from the system,
from
just the system in a whole is like us as men don't really have that many rights in a certain degree.
Is, right?
I don't like.
I'll tell you
if
why.
Someone can tell. Like,
I'll tell you.
I know the physical reason. why.
No. I'm telling you why. It's because men don't stick together. So, like women, like if a woman,
I don't know about that.
It's 100% true. If a woman sees another woman having a hard time with the child, she'll tell her, "You need to go to court. You need to do this." Blah 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 blah. If he tells me that his baby mama's treating him wrong or having a hard time, I'm gonna be like, "Man, that's crazy. My baby mama's tripping too." And we don't really like galvanize and like emotionally support each other.
No, and I understand that. I understand that, but I'm talking about just from a governmental side of things.
Yeah,
right.
Like when once a child is born. It's like it could be the most horrible mom in the world. If you don't have any proof or evidence, nothing's gonna happen.
Maternal rights, maternal rights,
exactly. But a mom can go, "Yo, he's horrible. He's not doing anything."
Or you're out.
Oh, you're out
without a doubt.
And you don't even have to have any evidence, and it's just like, "Oh, she said that."
So send her $1,000 a month.
That's it. Cut the check.
Right.
Yeah. That's it. So I do think, like, I get some of the things. I do understand why some things are put in place, but. There are a lot of things that in my situations, that I've went through where it's been like, man, if this was reversed, like you wouldn't get these same, this wouldn't happen for you. And I think even they know that. I think women know that. Right. And so you'll see in certain situations where it's like, yeah, I can pull this card.
I have the leverage.
Yeah, I have the leverage is always going to be in their favor until the kid is of age to be like, nah, like I want to go here.
How do you maintain that?
It's about him. Yeah. Like, literally. Like, for years, it's been hey, we going to pray for it. You know what I'm saying? God, I don't doubt God in any of it. Mm-hmm. But it's like, what I also don't do is, if I done prayed about something and I'm believing in God for it, then I just let it go. Like, if I'm doubting it, I shouldn't have prayed in the first place. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? And if I'm going to keep going back about it, that's showing my doubt. So it's like, cool, I pray about it. And now my job is to just be the best father that I can be for him.
And do what you can control.
And do what I can control. If I can control it, then I do it. If I can't control it, then I even let him. And like I said, with him being of age, I can let him know that.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. On that aspect, it's one of those things where, I don't have a child like that, but I'm dealing with the other end, like we're dealing with a woman that has a child, and then dealing with that side. So I've been on the other side where it's weird being on that side because exactly what you just said about the situation. But you're with the person that's doing that to the man. Yeah. So you're like, as much as...
I got, and I always wondered how,
sitting there.
Like, yo, how is that?
No, so
for the guy
the dude that knows exactly what's going on.
That has a kid with another guy.
Yeah.
And she's the one doing that to the guy. How does that guy sit and be like...
Here's what I do. And I'm going to say that, my wife is doing any of that.
Yeah.
But what I do try to make sure is because she does ask me about stuff and ask me like what I think should occur and whatever. And I just try to be as like kind of what you're saying. Like, if you're with a woman and you're hearing this, and she has a baby's father or child's father or whatever, just try to broker the most peaceful solution between them, especially the most kid-centric solution.
Yeah.
So, like, when she asks me something, regardless of, whatever's going on, if he does some bull, I'm going to say, yeah, that's kind of bull, but you don't know what's really going on.
Yeah.
Just focus on what's best for Aiden.
I got a question.
Exactly.
And if it's on the other end, hold on. If it's on the other end, like if she's on some bull, I just have to be man enough to tell her. Be like, yo, you tripping.
Yeah.
Like, stop it. Like, that's not right. Like, you know what I mean? And like, because heaven forbid, we're only a few bad left turns on my part from being me in that situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just,
Nah,
any relationship can, you don't know what, it can go that way and you've never even seen it coming. So I just try to make sure I always broker peaceful solutions.
Is it really your right to be able to step into that? Because let's put it from this point of view. You're a dad. Your girl, you have kids outside. You're not married to another woman, and you're not paying your child support. Does she have any say in what you're doing? Or your wife, your girlfriend?
Absolutely. Because
like,
why would you be with somebody that couldn't?
Because right.
Why would you ever why would you ever be with somebody that couldn't give you an honest critique of who you are
and you couldn't accept it too?
And you can't accept like that's what I'm saying. Like, so if she told me that I was on some BS, like my wife told me that, the biggest thing about me is she likes the fact that she can tell me when and where I've messed up and I just take it. Because it's not for me to get mad and say, hey, why are you pointing out my flaws? Now she points it out to me, and then I'll be like, well, how do I fix it?
Yeah.
Help me fix it. If that's what you're trying to do, make me a better man, I'm all for it. But, like, as far as me going to her and saying something about her situation, I don't ever volunteer my opinion. She comes to me and asks, because I know that's a situation that I did not create.
Right.
She created that situation with somebody. So, as a husband or a confidant or whatever, when she's having an issue, I wait for her to come to me and say, hey, babe, what do you think about this? Outside of that, I let her handle that. And outside of him being disrespectful or crossing any kind of lines, I won't get involved. The day that he does, it'll be a different story. But outside of that, it's not for me to get into.
Nah, and I agree with
that. But
that.
if you spoke on it, would she say that's none of your business?
I wouldn't speak on it.
Okay.
I don't know if she would. I don't think she would because
because
but
you
if I
had that dynamic,
unless I pulled her up and said don't do that to him, then I think she would just she might have a reaction adversely to it, but I don't think if it was honest and true and it wasn't
true. I'm saying being real, like if you're not taking care of your business.
Yeah. If she's not doing so, I think a real adult human being, I'm not even gonna say woman, an adult person should be able to look at themselves and be like, yeah, I'm on some BS.
Exactly, and I think when you're with a person, I think y'all both know.
Right.
That type
of
that
it's literally like, okay.
It's cool for you to like my wife was the same way. Like it was like she would fall back on certain things because she would be like, okay, I don't know if this is, and then if she saw that the door was open, it was like, okay, this is something I can touch on, then she would touch on it. And so I think, in that case, I see. And I think that's the same thing in the sense of even like with my son calling my wife mom.
Right.
Like I wasn't the dad that was like, yo, I'm married to her.
That's your mom.
Call her mom.
Yeah.
Like, if you do that, cool. That's you. It just wasn't me.
Right.
So he called my wife Miss Tanisha until he was probably, she met him when he was 2. Until he was probably like maybe 8.
Right.
8 or 9. And I remember he came to me and was like, hey, Dad, you think Miss Tanisha would mind if I called her mom? Right. And I was like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. You got to go ask her that. Right. Because now y'all have a relationship also. That's so I'm not even going to tell you yes. She might not
develop that.
I need you to develop that rapport with her because she's the one that you're asking to do that. And once he did that, she even had to take some time to get used to him calling her that because it had been
somebody else's mom.
So it's like I've been mom, but now he's calling me mom.
Yeah.
So now I'm really mom. You know what I mean?
Right. Like that always kind of I'm in between on that because. Like, I think for calling another woman mom, it might be okay, right? But it always kind of like the dudes that seem to like prey on single mothers, seem like they have some power trip with the kids, like especially the young males, to where like it's almost like call me dad. You know what I mean?
Got you.
And like you got to earn that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to earn that. You have to like have us like if you're not just genuinely my dad, and I think you can attest to that, right?
A little bit.
If you're not genuinely my dad, like you are not my biological father, and there's a trust level once I know that you're not, that you have to establish, and for me to feel comfortable to like I see it with my daughter now.
Yeah.
She don't have to question I'm her dad. She just says, "Daddy, I love you.
Yeah.
I know you love me." Hopped in their arms. With somebody coming into the situation, you don't natively know that.
Yeah. No,
You know what I
definitely.
mean?
No, I understand exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, and I think with women they're just more nurturing anyway, so they're always like, you know. But with men, it's kind of like
to develop that.
to develop that.
You have to
rapport.
develop. Yeah, like I already know. Like, and I've said it. I was like, he won't be calling nobody else dad.
Right, exactly.
Like, and not even.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, but it's not even on some like cocky type stuff or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just on the fact that like my wife is the only woman besides his mom that he's ever seen me with since the age of 2. So for 12 years of his life, he's only seen one person. When he comes and visits, when we go down there to visit him, there's only been one individual that he's seen,
and it's
that's
not
been
that
a constant
same way
female.
on
the men's side of thing, there isn't. It's not that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there isn't one dude that he can point at and be like, yo, for the last 12 years, this one guy has like been there. He's taking me to basketball practice and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
That I would be I understand it 1,000%.
I think that goes back to exactly what I just was saying. It's like you have nobody's really like you. You know, I was in a situation where one of my exes had a son, and then like after we broke up, it was, and his dad wasn't around like that, and like after we broke up, I was like trying to still, but then she started leveraging that as like, so I just was like, you know what, I'm just gonna like not interject myself, try to like put myself back into that, you know what I mean? So it's hard in the side dad or whatever, like, you know, stepfather realm to like know those boundaries, and that's a very sticky area to be in.
Nah, definitely.
Yeah. We're gonna keep it moving because of the interest of time. I would love to. I have more questions because I have a very unique father experience as well. But that'll be
Ask away. We're gonna get him.
We gotta get going. He said 2 minutes, like 12 minutes ago.
I'm hearing.
I'm gonna keep.
There could always be a part 2.
Okay.
Or we can, exactly. Or we can just keep chopping it up afterwards.
Yeah, we
for
can
sure.
chop it up, yeah.
We had a little mini. So, as you know, I really appreciate you actually listening to the podcast before you came on. Not to throw any shade at our other guests because we've had
I'm throwing shade. They don't listen.
A great.
Y'all know who you are.
I downloaded the app because of y'all.
But
It's a fully loaded clip.
It is.
I'd be on that.
It is a little new for me to for someone to know the actual structure of the show. So just as a reminder for everybody, whether you're a new listener, old listener, everyone at the table, last year at the end of the show, we did a rapid fire segment, ended up being a not so rapid fire segment. So
it became a slow burn.
Volume 2, we're moving from rapid fire to who done it, which is supposed to be like the same effect of rapid fire, which is, we go through a lot of content in a short amount of time, just random content,
but it keeps the answers quick.
Right, let's keep it moving quick. Okay, right, so week 1, I was inspired by President Obama. He left some comments on everybody's Twitter feed, Facebook feed, Instagram feed, or whatever. He called out woke culture. You seen that? Did you see that?
Nah, I didn't.
Pretty much said activism is not.
Oh, okay.
Activism on Twitter, just tweeting about shit is not activism.
I want to know who said it is.
Okay,
that's my question. Is I want to know who said it is activism, but that's not really what we're talking about.
Yeah.
What we're really talking about today is I only
let's leave the millennials alone.
Yeah.
Let's leave him alone.
No. Actually, this is my
Let's leave him
petty.
alone.
This is actually kind of my petty comeback at President Obama because
Oh boy.
For that comment.
Oh,
For that comment.
for that comment.
Be
comment.
careful.
So
For that comment.
Be careful.
Here we go.
No.
He wasn't going to go into
You're treading dirty,
his
man.
thing,
No,
but that is the exact comment that he made. He was like, "Y'all ain't woke," and that's not.
That's pretty much
and
what he said.
He said, "Y'all ain't woke," and
Y'all
that's
don't
not
know shit.
activism.
I mean, but there's some truth to what he said.
I do think
It's a little bit of truth.
He
to
said
it,
just tweeting alone is not activism.
yeah, he did. But I'm saying,
I think
if
there's one
Donald
thing-
Trump says that, we wouldn't be.
Oh yeah,
taking it to face value the way we.
Because Donald Trump is.
but everybody, yes,
Okay,
yes,
well,
they
we're
would.
gonna get into that, Rel.
But no,
we're gonna get into that.
50% of the population would just say taking it face value.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get the point. You actually
so
kind of
so here, you understand what we're doing, right?
you kind of get the point of the exercise. So I wrote out this whole. I'm gonna just read it.
Okay.
Rapid fire week 1. Who done it? Obama or Trump? Ever since the beginning of the Trump presidency, it seems as if the unanimous sentiment is that Trump is a resident man-child wannabe monarch with no reverence for the constitutional political ethics. Meanwhile, President Obama's image is as clean as ever, with Trump to compare to. Obama's popularity has skyrocketed in his early post-presidency. Obama has found his newfound popularity to do some hardcore vacationing, as well as running his Obama Foundation and occasionally commenting on contemporary politics, specifically critiquing the growing young activist progressive wing of the Democratic Party. Is Obama the GOAT he is popularly believed to be? Is Trump's record a total repudiation of Obama, or is there more to explore behind the echo chamber of narratives we're exposed to? Let's see if you can discern these two figures and their records in a game of whodunit. Are y'all ready?
All right.
Are you going to do
guys
that
ready?
every whodunit?
I'm gonna try to make it shorter. I'm gonna try to make it
that was like that's just as long as the rapid fire was.
No, the rapid fire is a good 20-25 minutes.
Okay, yeah, but that was like 15.
Yo, that's
All right, I need you guys to keep score. I'm probably not going to be very
Rel
good.
got to keep. No, Wadi, you keep score
Between them two?
between me and him.
Okay. Can you do that? So
Yes, I can.
okay, so we are playing for keeps, guys. The winner of this competition will get to choose the last story
segment?
Yeah, the last story we talk about, okay? Yeah, there's one more story we'll talk about. All right. Question 1. During this president's administration, an FBI counterterrorism briefing mentioned black identity extremism as a new category of terrorist activity to be monitored. It was mentioned in an email that was sent out to thousands of police departments nationwide. Who done it? Who's FBI done it?
Obama.
He says Trump. He says Obama. The answer is Trump.
Oh.
This was a 2017 FBI document. All right.
Okay.
All right. He's
You
going to
said
jump
black.
on.
It was just going to be too easy.
Black identity extremism.
Yeah, all right. My answer is always Obama. I'm just right.
Question 2. During this president's administration, an FBI database of political anti-racist activity was uncovered in the midst of various protest movements. Protesters who were arrested were being tagged and monitored by the FBI after their release. One document even detailed an entire Thanksgiving trip to a popular protest site with the budget and the protesters' itinerary detailed. So they had this person's entire trip already documented before it ever happened. Who was tagging these protesters? Was this Obama or Trump?
Obama.
Who done it?
Obama.
Yeah, this was Obama. This was his Ferguson, Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figured that was what it was.
Yeah, that was his policy during Ferguson,
Because
Baltimore.
he ain't really had like big. Trump ain't really
I
had
remember that.
anything but against him directly.
Okay. All right. Number 3. This president signed a bill that repeals FCC privacy rules, which allow internet users to control what service providers can do with their data. The rule required broadband providers to get user permission for information such as browser history, cookies, geolocation, financial and medical information, among more. So who stripped your right to internet privacy?
Obama.
It was Trump.
The answer is Trump.
Oh.
Yeah, that was more recent.
2017.
I know it was in progress when he was president, though.
It was.
But it never went
net
through.
Neutrality.
Yeah.
The net
stuff.
neutrality was in when he was. That's what
Okay,
got me.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what
net
got me.
neutrality.
Trump was the one that repealed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we got 1-0.
No,
Or 2-1.
2-1.
2-1.
2-1. Yeah.
Wadi, are you paying attention? Scorekeeper? You like an NFL referee?
Yeah, yo, you are. You just no. You know what he's like? He's like the umpire during the World Series. It was like them balls. Like 3
strike.
I missed it. I missed it.
Phone and look back. Strike.
I think I heard everybody.
Did you swing?
Series games was long though, so
But did you see? Did you see where they were missing the calls though? Yeah, it was horrible. All right, are you gonna get back on your? Are you gonna get back on actually keeping the score and paying attention?
He ain't even picking up the mic.
No, he ain't even. That man done dropped his pop filter.
Right.
He ain't none of it. He over there doing it for the gram. He's editing photos. I get it, but like we asked you to keep
working.
score,
He's
and
still
you
working.
said yes.
Still working.
He's still working though.
I am working.
He was chosen.
Right, he's working.
Look, but he literally said yes. I will keep score, and then was like, nah, I'm done.
I got it.
All right, go ahead. 2-1 Stitch.
This president passed the most sweeping. Oh, wait, we're gonna go with that one. I skipped one on accident. We'll go back to it. This president passed the most sweeping federal criminal justice reform in history by signing a bill that invests $75 million into a reassessment program for inmates, shortens sentences for nonviolent offenses, and expands job training programs.
Man, I want to say Trump.
Obama.
He says Obama.
Yeah,
You say Obama?
Trump.
Trump? It was Donald Trump.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's
nice.
because
It was Donald Trump.
I just thought about Kim Kardashian.
Yep.
That's what.
You know what? I should have thought about Kim. Whenever
exactly
in
what
doubt,
it
think
is.
about Kim Kardashian.
No, that's-
For all of that,
From.
for all of the criticism, they out here getting it done.
They did get it done. So hey, shout out.
3-1.
Stitch. All right, this president.
Oh,
took
if you do it like a tennis match every time, yeah, 3-1 Stitch. Yeah, nice. You got to do that for the rest of the shows. Yeah, all the shows.
This is a new
We have
segment.
16 episodes, so you got to do 16? that every. Yes.
I thought it was 11, 12.
Calm down. It's 16.
Well, you guys
got
heard it here.
16
Volume
guests.
2 is 16 episodes.
16 episodes.
Now,
I'm on here some point in time.
We
barely made the cut.
We only did put out 11.
All right, here we go. We're going on to the
might have
next
to
one.
shift my-
This president took advantage of Facebook and YouTube advertising terms and conditions to wage a campaign of disinformation, spending tens of millions of dollars running deliberately false ads, which would be illegal via other media platforms like TV, print, etc.
I think that was Trump.
Trump. Yep, that's Trump. He's already began to run false ads paid for
Trying to
false.
take off on me a little bit here.
He's already began to run false ads about Joe Biden on
Yeah.
YouTube. Yeah.
4.
Did you see that? Did you
2.
see those press conference where Zuckerberg was getting like
grilled?
That was nice. That was nice.
It's honestly just the tip of the iceberg with the Facebook's
Yeah,
privacy
anyway,
and stuff.
but yeah,
It really is.
next question.
Okay. This Facebook's campaign created a Facebook supplementary app during his candidacy, which was downloaded by 1 million supporters and was able to unknowingly access the data of up to 200 million additional non-supporters on Facebook. So it's an app that was downloaded by 1 million people, but through that was able to access 200 million people's data.
I think that was Obama.
I think it's Trump.
This was President Obama in 2012.
Okay.
Essentially, okay, I'll read you the
5-2. We don't need the campaign.
I just remember that.
I'm done playing this silly game.
5-2.
the campaign.
Match point.
The campaign.
Match point.
I don't think
point.
unless they got a wild card question. I don't think I have
Wild
a
card question.
Yo.
We'll do 2 for 1 on the last one.
I think I need 3 or 5 for one.
The last.
5-point question.
Yeah, I need a 5-point question
We
here.
have what, 2 more.
Yeah.
You might catch up if he gets them both wrong. You get them both right. But the campaign used the data to target non-supporters in deceptive ways. One campaign staffer said their most effective tactic was to send messages to non-supporters disguised as their friends. So essentially, they would steal your identity. The Obama campaign would steal your identity on Facebook and send messages to you.
Yeah, my mom said I sent her messages. I didn't say.
For about Obama?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
crazy.
That's
That's
your.
wild.
But you know, it's like when your friend does something and you're okay with it. You're like, yo, if it was somebody else, I'd be upset. But all right, Obama, I see what you're doing.
Okay, last 2. This president, we'll do last 2. Let me see. This president was dubbed the deporter-in-chief for his unprecedented deportation numbers, specifically to the regions of Mexico and Central America, amassed over 1.5 removals in just 4 years.
Obama.
Obama. Yep.
6-3.
This is the last one. This is
6,
double points.
3.
This is double points. It would have put Anthony in the running, but my man over here,
He's on fire.
he's sharp, man. He been reading. He been woke.
I needed
He
some
been
more.
He's
been reading.
woke.
No. I'm not taking
Yo.
that. I'm not taking that because that man
That's
said
funny.
his answer was all contingent on Kardashian.
But that was the one.
He's been woke.
She got a couple
I'm just
people
joking.
out. You know what I mean?
Like, so you can't say woke and
Yeah.
Kardashian in the same way.
This president signed a
She
Defense Authorization
Yes.
Act, which allows U.S. citizens to be detained by the military even on U.S. soil without due process. In the same year, this president also authorized the death of an American citizen without due process using the 2001 Patriot Act signed by George W. Bush.
Obama.
Trump.
It was Obama.
Nah, I just wanted to give him one.
I felt like he did that just to make it seem like it was
Yo.
a close game.
Yo, you know when the team scores a late touchdown, late touchdowns,
6.
it's a 10-point game. It's
Serving 4.
it is.
No.
It was.
Oh, that was double?
6-5.
Oh, that was double?
6-5.
6-5.
That was it, though. That was.
Oh, that was a
one.
double,
6-5.
yeah. So he got
That was your money round. So
Does he lose 2 points?
nah.
No, it's just worth double points. It's just worth double points. Okay, so we got 2 questions about a presidential campaign, but Canada's presidential campaign. So we got a story about serial blackface, or we have a story about an American sleeper cell.
American sleeper cell.
Okay, so imagine in 2020 there's a Democratic candidate, or in Canada it's the Conservative candidate, and 2 weeks before the election we find out they're the citizen of another country. This happening in Canada, where in the election, Andrew Scheer, the Conservative Party leader, was found to be a United States citizen 2 weeks before their election. So that's the scandal in Canada right now. One candidate has been found, at least 3.
They're getting that free health care. He was like,
He's like, I ain't saying no.
No, that's exactly what happened. No one knew. He never told anybody his dad is an American citizen, never told anybody that he was a naturalized American citizen. They just found out. He actually has
this isn't as juicy as I thought it was going to be.
He's an
I heard
American
enough blackface stuff, so I was
an American citizen.
Manchurian candidate. That's what I was.
Yeah,
An American citizen?
I understand, but like Canada's like America Light.
No.
Yeah. Like,
No, it's
Right.
not.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like
I fell asleep on that one.
I
That
thought
one
it
of
was
us
gonna be
wanted to
crazier
go
than
there.
Yeah, I'm
but
talking
I did-
conspiracy
I did-
theory,
I
like,
thought it was gonna be
straightforward.
way crazier.
Because my mind went straight to Manchurian
Yeah,
candidate.
yeah.
Somebody,
Manchurian candidate?
Yeah,
Like
somebody
when someone was hypnotized
somebody was
into running
hypnotized out this.
for
You said a
president?
sleeper cell. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
No, no,
Sleeper
no, no,
cell
no.
does not sound like, hey, I just did.
Are you from America?
Yeah.
That was it.
They was like, you know what? They run us anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
Hell, now they sent 21 Savage away from that. We would have never known that man was English. It's the same thing.
exactly.
Well, that's a deportable offense. That's literally
Did
treason.
they deport him?
No, it's a white dude running for president, so they're not gonna really convict him for. But that's treason. Like you
Is
can't.
it
Yes, you can't. You can't.
lying?
You can't lie about your citizenship.
That's not treason. Treason is not lying.
in Canada. They're like investigating him for various different federal charges against like their sovereignty.
You know what I would do if
Like
I
it's a
was him?
crime. It's a
I
crime
would just
against
go back to the United States and be like, "What y'all gonna do about it?"
You know, it might happen. We'll see. We'll
That's
see.
probably what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Right?
it might
he's like,
happen.
nah, I'm back home.
Then he's gonna run for
But, yeah,
president
that's
of the
Right?
United
He's
States.
like, see how I gangstered Canada?
The other story is their incumbent president has been. They found 3 photos on the internet in the past couple months of him in
what?
blackface.
Oh,
At least 3 photos.
I don't-
And he said there's more. He told the
let me ask you this.
he told the country, I just want the country to prepare for more photos should they. So yeah,
like back in college, I was doing a lot of black.
What the?
A lot of
Yo,
blackface back in the
what?
day.
that's exactly
What's
what
going
happened.
on? You know that can't happen in America. That there's
Yeah,
no
there
way.
may or may not be
Nothing.
47
Nobody passes.
There
nobody
may
gets
or may
past
not
that.
be 47 other photos.
He would be canceled like tomorrow.
But that's what's going on. There's 2 scandals. One of the candidates.
We
is
gave Trump
Canadian.
problems for having
And
orange
the other,
face.
the other has been doing blackface his whole life.
We gave Trump problems for an orange face
But-
and a bad hairdo.
Imagine one of the presidents being like,
Here's
I'm
my
a
What?
blackface? What?
Here's my question: One, is blackface as like culturally shocking as it is in America for them? Because I think they didn't have slaves a lot long. Like, I'm not trying to condone it, but I'm just saying I don't know if it's the same.
I would think so.
I mean, I know it's probably like distasteful, but it's probably not as like evil rooted as American. racism.
Because with America, it's rooted. Jim Crow
Exactly.
literally was a blackface character.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know if it has that same root. So
It is kind of a weird Canadian relationship because it's the second Canadian to be caught in blackface. The first one was Drake.
my first yeah, you do remember that.
Shots fired.
Exactly. Drop the mic.
But it's like I'm not. My second question is:
You got to see these pictures, bro. When you see the pictures, you're
I
gonna be
don't,
like,
because I know
"Oh,
what
yeah,
blackface
that's
looks like."
racist as shit."
But I know what blackface looks like. It doesn't get more black, like the
They
different.
don't get
poses.
blacker.
It doesn't get
Don't get
blacker,
more or less racist based on the
yeah.
costume.
No, I've seen plenty of blackface, and it's pretty much, So my only thing is that I don't think, like, I don't know why these things continue. Like, it almost, this is conspiracy time, right?
Mm.
It almost feels like people are doing stuff to like pull strings to like have reactions because certain stuff does not make people react anymore.
But I think
So they try to go extreme and make more reactions.
I think it's always been that way. I just think now there are more tools and more
Right.
avenues.
We live in a soapbox world.
Exactly.
Here's the soapbox. Thank you,
Yeah.
Zuckerberg. Thank you,
Yup,
Tom.
Exactly.
Tom.
Yup, Tom.
My friend
Tom
was
damn
yeah.
fool.
But it's like because there's
That
so
sounds like
many
a hacker
like
account that was just getting on
you got to think
No, you got a friend.
That's
like
what
back in
started
the
that
day,
whole-
anybody could watch like if I watched Martin
Mhm.
back in the day and I didn't like the episode of Martin or I thought it was problematic or
You just
something
went
like
to
that.
bed.
I would the next day at work I would go or at
The soup
school and be
cooler.
like, yo, did you see that joint? It's crazy. Now I could be watching the episode of Martin and be like,
Getting
yo,
on your
did y'all
soapbox.
just see what such
And that
and
shit
such
could go viral.
did?
Get on your
Like,
soapbox.
It'll go viral because now you got your little soapbox moment.
Right. Yeah.
So now it's just giving everyone a soapbox.
I feel like that's
Like-
a horrible thing.
Yes. Like yeah.
Horrible.
It's
I
crazy
don't
that
love
it's crazy.
Some
love-hate
people's
relationship
opinions
with social
don't need
media.
to
Shout out to Obama for saying everybody ain't woke.
It's crazy we would say that in a democratic society, though. It's crazy that
But no,
It's not.
no,
It is a
what
little
you're
bit.
speaking.
It is
I
a little
understand
bit.
what you mean.
No.
it is a little
Free
bit
speech,
because
yeah,
it's
I
a
get
very
it.
democratic
That's
platform.
No, but I'm not. It's not so much about the free speech.
It's know what to
It's not
speak
so much about the
about,
free
God
speech.
damn it.
It's about how many. It's given everybody. It's given everybody a an
Platform,
audience.
yeah.
And I would argue,
So now
argue
every
that
individual has a platform.
I would argue that it's democratized media, whereas to get to all of these people, you would have had to go through an institution.
Okay.
You would have had to go through.
Well, I feel like
understand
everybody doesn't.
Or
That's
radio.
not warranted for everyone
not warranted.
because there's a lot of people in here
Sure, but
that
I'm
don't
saying it has
don't need it.
democratized
Check this out.
speech. Like
Here's
it's
what.
democratized.
Here's where.
Does a
here's
stripper
what-
need it?
Hold on 1 second. Here's what the real crux.
Rel.
About to go.
The real crux is you have the right to say whatever you want.
Absolutely.
Nah,
That's the
not Donald Trump.
He does too. And you hold on, let me Rel.
But that's the problem, damn it. But that's the problem. He does.
But you have the right to say whatever you want.
Yeah.
But now you cannot sit there and be shocked and appalled when people do not like what you have to say and have an opinion about what you have to say. So it's totally different. The democracy part is the rights to have it. Now people telling you to shut the F up because we don't want to hear you. That's the cancel part. And like, you can't be mad at that. Like, we don't want to hear you on your soapbox, or we think too many people have soapboxes. We don't want to hear from everybody.
True.
Yeah, true.
So that's not anti-democracy. That is actually just saying we have opinions, and we don't think everybody should have like a
Should voice
platform
theirs.
to voice it.
Yeah.
I just think in a democratic society that does contradict the logic that undergirds the society, though.
How?
Because the society is built upon or theoretically on the equalization of voices.
Well, I think
That every voice should be
Heard.
right.
literally.
I don't
Yeah,
think everybody
literally.
should be heard because
Me
some
either.
are stupid.
No.
Right.
And here
That's obnoxious.
But I think
That's an obnoxious statement.
But because of the society,
It is.
It is.
because of the
But it's the
society
truth.
we live in,
I believe in it.
everybody does have the
Well,
right.
I think since we had the first
Some rappers shouldn't be
Even
heard.
though- exactly. Even though it's like there's some stuff I hear and be like, why?
right.
Like, why were you given the
And
opportunity
what you also
to
got to
this?
do,
Like,
also got to keep in
you
mind,
know?
is that if you have all this noise, just like if we all start talking at the same time, the actual key components of what need to be said sometimes get missed because everybody's talking at the same time. And if you think about like everything is just energy anyway, so you voicing all your opinions, now people have to weed through all this stuff to get to real information.
It cancels
back.
the. It
the thing is-
cancels the truth.
And one more thing, one more thing is that if that's why the Second Amendment is the right to bear arms, Because if I
It's
sit there,
multiple
sit here
It's assembly
and run my mouth, I better be able to defend myself with the weapon. You know what I mean?
Well, I just think in general, like the energy you put out is the energy you get.
Exactly.
So if I come on here and I go, yo, forget this person, forget this person, forget this person, I can't be surprised when it's heard and those people I
Roll
said
up on you.
come at me. I can't be like, oh, why would you come at me?
Exactly.
Which is what I think
exploring
Obama
my
is doing.
speech.
I honestly think I'm not going to get into my thoughts on the Obama thing, actually, but I will say this: I think there's a bigger issue than even these issues of like if we're creating an echo chamber. I've been doing research on what's called the Jim Crow, electronic Jim Crow. In the 2016 election, there were certain media firms. Social media firms, digital media firms that targeted African American communities with like different misinformation campaigns, et cetera, to the point where, and you can look at like the Mueller report and other reports about the Russian interference in the election, is that they were trying to quarantine us electronically.
Yeah.
Make us think the election was different times, make us believe different facts, make
But
us
I also think
believe
they do that
different.
with the white people too. So they do.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what because segregation was whites only, blacks only.
Right.
So white only political information, black only political information.
But I don't think all their information is true either.
It might not be. It's
But,
still segregation.
It's segregated.
That's
but
what I'm
it's not
saying.
Like It's not like they're feeding this group better information.
No, they are.
Not really.
No, I'm telling you, the
But
study was they were
I know.
giving correct information to conservative voters and incorrect information to African Americans.
But they were giving incorrect information to both, from what I read. It was
in other places,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so it's not just a lot of those studies when they go in, they are looking for racism, right? And versus saying
not
looking
necessarily.
instead of saying we're looking to see what's going on here.
That
It
is
already
what,
has a hue of, you know what I mean. So that's what I took away from what I read about that study.
there's multiple ones.
Yeah.
Okay, were you talking about Cambridge Analytica? Or
I can't remember how was that work.
I know. I've heard of that one.
huh?
That was
that
being
one is
funny.
the one I've heard of. Cambridge Analytica.
Yeah, this shit is crazy, man.
Yeah,
they
it
could,
is.
but I was thinking about that. Like, you could go outside one day, and for half the world, it's election day, just based off of this.
Right.
That's crazy. And
That's
the
world
real
that we live.
danger.
Who has the power?
That's what
Exactly.
I'm saying.
Yep.
So Obama's sitting here criticizing us, and he was partnered with Facebook and Amazon and all these other data that are really blocking truth.
Well, there's a difference
he's
between
not-
Obama, besides
Obama's not
not the
doing-
His
presidency,
administration
the
was
administration.
partnered.
Right. That's
It's-
what
all right.
it
So
is.
me and you got into a Facebook argument about this, and the one thing I will say is, and if you guys have anything else to say after this, I'm good. But we'll sit here and say, okay, Stitch, you commented about my blue hat, right?
Mhm.
But you're wearing a yellow hat, so you're just as wrong because you did something too.
Mhm.
But we never sit there and say, okay, well, let's address the blue hat first, right? We just point back at your yellow hat. So if Obama says that just because if you're only commenting on Twitter and, that's what you're calling activism, you should really go outside and actually participate in your, whatever. That doesn't mean that now you have to go back at him and say, well, you participated in Facebook back in 2012.
It's constructive criticism.
No.
You don't have to
To an
then
extent.
say, well,
To
you
an
did this
extent.
wrong too.
I'm not.
You don't have to say you did
And
this
that's why I
wrong.
say I
too.
don't think what he wrote was
Was a negative.
Right.
negative.
It was a step your game up.
I think
It was a
I
call
think-
to
I
arms.
think,
But
I think it. I think. I think it was a slight. I think that
It was a call to arms.
It's
It was
like
like
when someone
step
is.
up.
It's.
I agree
I
with
think
him.
it's like when
Backhanded
someone is
compliment.
criticizing you. Yeah, when someone, not even a compliment, like someone is criticizing you. What they're saying is real. At the same time, we got a history, and the way that you're coming at me is like it's still not correct. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you don't have the right to say what you're saying to me, which I think part of it is what Obama's talking about. College critics, political critics. When he goes around college campuses, when he's trying to communicate with college students, he finds this disconnect. I think that's
in the mic.
I think that's what he was trying to because I watched the whole hour and 20 minutes.
Right.
He sounded to me like he was saying, when I go to college campuses, it's hard for me to communicate with them about politics because they're in one space and I'm in another.
Right.
He went beyond that to criticize these students for being in the space that they're at. I don't think it's fair for him to
But
criticize.
why is it?
Because
Hold on.
because
Why is it
partially,
not fair?
but listen,
It's-
because
we're gonna-
okay, I'm not trying to yell at you. Because I was getting there. I don't think it's fair for him to necessarily make that criticism because his administration was there for 8 years to build the environment that he's describing.
Listen to what I'm saying to you though, and
his administration was paying Facebook hundreds of millions of dollars.
Think about it. Listen to what you
to develop algorithms.
You got what you got from us. It's not that it's one sided. I said a constructive criticism. He said and also a call to arms. Step up. Okay, it's not just here because I was here and I did that. I built that platform for you guys. I gave you something. Utilize it and take it to the next level.
I understand that.
How you can't. So that's what I got.
One thing that
where's the emotional content bringing? Like, why are we being criticized instead of saying why are we not being called to arms? We're being called to arms. Let's step up.
But I don't think it was a call to arms.
I'm just saying you can think
it wasn't really a call to arms. He was doing call to arms 6 months ago.
Okay,
9 months. I think sometimes depending on the person, not saying that you're taking it this way, but I think sometimes
millennials
things as a negative. It's when something isn't being done. So if you're say you are a father, but you're not being a father, and someone says to you, "Hey man, you got to get out to his games. You got to do a lot more.
Step your game up."
And they're just telling you, step your game up. They're not saying you're a horrible father or anything.
Bottom line,
saying, but if you know you haven't been there emotionally, you may go like, "What do you mean? I'm there for my kid. What are you talking about?"
That's what I'm saying.
The emotional side would automatically go to negative on that because. Man, are they trying? Now I'm pulling for what they are trying to say instead of really looking at, okay, what is he really saying? So is he just saying step my game up?
I can see that.
So why couldn't he be taken and step my game up? Because
it can't. I'm not saying it can't be. And I said partially I do take it as that because he's been consistent since before he left office.
Right.
I also think he's consistently been, because he's the president of the United States, he's consistently been very hard for my generation. If you ask any person my age or younger, we feel like it's impossible to get him to answer the questions. Well, we really want him to, and that's when he goes to college campuses and he says, I feel like it's hard for me to, because of this woke culture. I think he's just describing, we have certain political values and he has certain political values and it's hard for us to communicate.
That's not what I took from it at all. What I took,
but you aren't.
We are different.
That's what I'm saying. Like we have a different experience.
I addressed your point.
He's taking it from a different perspective.
So yeah, we're coming from a different perspective.
I understand. So like the first thing you said, it's like, and go back to the hat thing that I made. Just because I had like. Who else has a better view of you if you're not constantly looking in the mirror yourself than the people that are watching you? Right? So if somebody's saying to you, hey, you're exhibiting this behavior, I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just saying, don't just do this. Don't just.
But that's not what he was really saying.
Can I finish what I'm saying, please?
How you can finish?
Can you read the like?
I read it. I did.
No, I just want to hear it again.
I read the whole blurb.
No, I got what you said.
So like it's one of those things where he's like, that's not woke. If people that claim that they're woke, everybody's not woke because it's just an era now where everybody's claiming to be woke, and just because you have a platform to retweet or say something and share something, that doesn't make it activism either.
Right.
And so like I took that, and then I went and watched the I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched what he posted. I watched exactly what he posted. Yeah. And I didn't have that vibe from it. And even back to like almost Kanye, what we were talking about with Kanye, where like you guys were kind of like, oh, I just took the music for face value. That's what I kind of did because I know he's not talking to me directly. Yeah. So I feel like when he sees that, he thinks it's coming for people just like me. And you have an emotional reaction from when you feel like somebody's critiquing you personally, like you said about the dad. Like it's not that. It's saying don't let this be all you do.
And I don't think
and so but a lot of people are just doing that.
Okay, let me read the comments and then I'll say this before I read the comments. it's not just any emotional reaction. There is an emotional reaction. And my generation's very emotional. I've never hidden from
That's
that.
it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
That's what I was.
I'm not hiding from that. I don't think that makes our reaction illegitimate.
No, I'm not saying.
No, it doesn't. But it makes it hard for you guys to receive any criticism without pointing back at us.
What I was saying
was it's not at a group of people. It's about a specific person with.
And what I was saying was, I don't. I
think
think that. That's all I wanted to hear was that.
Boom.
Okay, it is coming from
because course.
What I always say is like. So what I always say is
stop.
When a person
you're not going to get us to stop.
But when a person can say, "Yo, I am being emotional," it can make me go, "All right, cool. I'll get what you're saying because I know where it's coming from."
But getting emotional like that off of somebody, because you do it with me, you do it with him, you do it with a lot of us. Now you allow your emotions to distort the message that we're trying to get through to you sometimes. So sometimes we're trying to like actually show you something, like say, "Hey, look, there might be more here than like we're showing you." And rather than saying, "Hey, you know what? Is there truth to what they're saying?" You're saying, "How dare they talk to me that way?" And that's
not in an explosive way. It's
sure.
just an emotion from an emotional standpoint.
Sure. So like.
It's like
rather like when I start listening to him, when he talks to me, he might say some stuff about me, like "Hey, remember that fight? You know, whatever, blah blah blah." And I'll be like, "Yeah, I was tripping." He'd be like, "Yeah, I was trying to tell you that then, but you weren't hearing it because you were emotional."
Sure, and I think all those things can exist. I just don't think they do with this specific moment. And the reason
you have your right.
You have your right to feel
the reason is because there is an emotional reaction, and it's specifically because the person who's saying it. Where they're saying it at, who they're saying it to, the context around it. It's like the people that are consider themselves. I think of woke as a culture. It's like the kind of the context of hip hop culture in this day and age is kind of like woke. Like that's been a very common theme in Black culture.
I think the messenger messes with you because I feel like I've said very similar stuff to you and you agreed with me.
It does, but the messenger messes with me for specific.
He said that.
I said it's because. Because I think
there is a history.
The history is important.
But think about it. It's the same thing
of him saying something to activists. Activists have activists will have a critique. Then he critiques activists, and the activists have another critique. Well, then he critiques our culture. Then he critiques Twitter. Then he critiques
is it really critiquing or him speaking
a
certain truth that he sees?
I think it is. No, I'm not. I think he's speaking genuinely about how he feels. I just think that how he feels asserts traditional like notions of authority.
What's wrong with that?
I think
nothing's wrong. It's just that we are anti-authoritarian.
Bro, that's the problem.
That's the problem.
Of course,
there's a respect in a.
It's not about.
When I say respect, it's it's a tier.
Yeah.
Archie, you know what I'm saying? A tier.
Jay-Z thing last
yeah, I know that's what I was going to go to the Jay-Z.
He had a problem with Jay-Z's thing with the NFL. And here's what
I
was trying to stay away from that. That's exactly what it is.
I'm about to make another point.
I didn't want to call it out.
And so here's exactly what it is you have problem, like, here's what essentially happens, right? The activists that you're talking about, they talk and talk and talk.
It's not talking.
Listen to what I'm saying.
It's showing up at Standing Rock and someone dying.
You're talking on the wrong point. That's not what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
They have all these points and critiques for Obama, and they're giving all this stuff back, and they're sending it his way. Nobody hears that but them and Obama, right? But when Obama speaks to them,
everyone hears it.
That's what I'm saying.
He knows that, though.
Hold on. But that's what I'm saying. No matter what he says, he's going to drown out their microphones, period, because of the platform he has. The same thing with Jay-Z. If Jay-Z goes, so if he does anything, if he sits back and doesn't address it, they're going to say, why didn't he address it? When he does address it, you say, oh, why is he belittling our point? No matter what Obama does in that situation, there's going to be something.
Obama could have never said nothing about woke culture and no one would have known. No one would have cared. No one would have asked him to.
No one would still be sending their critique to him.
So is your question, is your thing more of like why?
I think it's
more of a why.
It's a why. It's a motivation. It's like a backhanded thing. Like, yes, what you're saying is true, but I think he's using this to drown out critiques about him and Biden. Like right now, Biden is really running on the Obama legacy, and Biden's biggest problem right now is young voters. Like that's been every day you get on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, you're going to hear Biden trying to get trying to get young voters.
I seen the one in
You're gonna hear about Biden and cancel culture because of the stuff in Ukraine and because of different sexual assault allegations. So I think Obama is in this specific moment where he's having trouble within his party getting the young activists to fall in what he feels like they should fall in line with his establishment that he came through. I did all this stuff.
So who do you support?
I created it. I'll say it right now on air. I support Bernie Sanders for president for sure. And that's what I'm saying is like, I think Bernie Sanders would never say nothing. Bernie Sanders critiques us all the time. He would never say nothing like what Obama said. He would never be like college kids and just call out college activists.
Because Bernie wants y'all to vote for his ass.
Bernie's trying to win.
But Bernie is taking the hardest route to victory.
But Bernie is
Bernie
trying to win.
He's trying to go through actual activists.
Bernie actually has the reverse of issue than Obama. Obama has our group and our moms and our age group.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And Bernie has the young kids, but he doesn't have us. Because
absolutely.
We're looking at it like you want, like, and I'm not talking about me specifically. I'm just talking about people that I talk to about Bernie Sanders. Their critique of him is he's saying all this shit, and there's excuse my language. He says all this stuff, and there's no way for him to back it up. Like a lot of the stuff that he like the free college and all that stuff. If you
but Obama came out for free college before Bernie did.
I get it, but there's no way for them to actually pay for it. Like there's no plan. It's hollow. Like if you go, and I'm not talking for me. I just had somebody literally walk me through all this stuff. Like a lot of the stuff he says sounds good in jest, but when you actually go to pay for it, there's no way.
I think in general,
and so older people that's
all of them.
Exactly. But older people, we've been through how many elections now? This will be the fourth one. Is it fourth or five? No, we were at
I think
fifth. Fifth because we had Bush the first time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was my first.
So it's our fifth election. Yeah. This is your second. So like we've been through this cycle 5 times. So it's not as exacerbating as it might be for like you guys trying to say, okay, we really have this. So we've seen 5 or 6
It's also a different point in U.S. history too.
It is, but we've seen 5 or 6 different people come through and make these promises and say same stuff and do same stuff and then live off of it.
I think we got to go. It's been a great.
That wasn't awkward at all. Nobody just showed him the clock.
Yeah, I think we definitely
smoothed into that joint.
He said, I think we got it.
I don't want to end this. You guys best believe we're gonna keep talking behind. After
we're gonna have to bring back Stitch.
But
somewhere.
Hey, I'm
with episode 17.
I had a good time. Like I'm
yeah. Hopefully, if you have headphones on, this sounds a lot better than.
Oh yeah, wow,
we got totally new equipment.
We updated everything.
We updated
the fans. It was all for you, fans.
Except for a little bit of etiquette, banging on the table.
Yeah, that was
bumping with the mic.
It wasn't even me this time.
Oh, you grabbed the mic.
I did grab the mic.
I twisted it.
I can't.
You know what? The banging was
definitely. Yeah, I hit that joint.
I dropped the mic
because I talk with my hands. Like I was trying to keep the joint.
It's getting there.
But the sound quality probably
should be a lot better.
And Waddy didn't say anything, but shout out to JR Waddy.
Shout out Waddy.
He's working. His
Instagram's still a nasty place.
I see you got the beard going a little bit more and more nowadays.
What?
Yeah. Chicks dig beards.
He does everything for the chicks.
Yeah, literally everything he does.
Yeah, he posts like woke stuff, and I'm like, that's how I know that fake woke is a thing. Because why did he post Waddy's fake woke stuff? I'm like,
I have never posted anything.
Lectured because of your fake woke.
I have never posted any kind of fake wokeness. I might post something motivational.
Yeah, no. I'll be like, yo,
you borderline fake woke. You woke for the moment.
He woke for the moment, but he's doing it for the likes. I know what he's doing. He woke that. He's like, that nasty pic I posted yesterday didn't work. All right, let's post inspiration today.
I hope no, mix it up. You get one nasty, then you get some motivational. One nasty, you can't.
At least you find.
My mom was like,
find some balance.
What is Waddy doing? You know what the best Waddy post I ever heard was? He shouted out the women that let men drive their cars while they're at work, so they could be with their side chicks.
He said, "Nice." Nah, Waddy.
Yo.
That was the best one ever.
Yo.
What is wrong with you? Waddy better never. This is the fake woke post I don't want to see. If I ever see you share a meme with energy, the word energy or vibes,
or
vibrations,
I think
I better never see you say no shit about.
What's wrong
energy.
with vibes?
I don't want you talking about.
You don't want
vibes.
you talking about vibes.
You can't be positive. I can't.
There are vibes.
Yeah, I don't give off positive vibes.
You're a master of the vibes. You're a vibe bender.
I don't give off positive vibes. That's my question.
I don't know. I wouldn't say positive is how.
What kind of okay? So what
I
kind
wouldn't
of vibe
describe
would you say
your
I
vibes as your vibration.
I think your vibes are hysterically funny if you don't take them the right way. Like some people could take your vibes the wrong way, but I think I've learned how to take all your vibes.
Wow,
Fuck them people.
you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I forgot she was there.
Jeez.
Ooh,
I forgot she was
All
there. I'm sorry.
right. Well,
I'm
we're
so
about
sorry.
to sign off. You want to close this out?
Socials
Headphones.
at the Let's Catch Up podcast.
We also have business cards coming.
Oh, dope.
Those are going to be pretty tight.
I'm not sure how that helps the listeners, but we have business
If
cards
you get a
coming.
business card, just follow the directions on the business card. And I want you to see the artwork.
And the directions on the business card
We were
will
talking
say
about microphones.
at the Let's Catch Up podcast.
Yes. It'll say
that's Instagram.
Let's catch up. Podbean.com.
And it'll say, if you want any inquiries, the Let's Catch Up podcast at gmail.com.
And we also are going to try to put up videos this season.
Yes,
We got
sir.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
Especially IGTV. I think that's the best route.
Yeah,
We're working on it.
Definitely.
Want to thank you one more time, Stitch Early, for
Oh, not a
coming
problem.
in.
Thank y'all for having me.
Chosen.
Yeah,
Chosen.
Chosen, Icon
Appreciate y'all.
Nation,
Yeah, Icon Nation.
Food Truck
Food Truck Festival.
Frederic Food Truck.
June 13th.
Yeah, June 13th. Y'all heard it first.
I like that.
I'm trying to be a part of that too. I'm trying to get on that.
Hey, bro, we
Stitch.
gonna,
I think it's the 19th, but
Bro,
I'll
we
go.
gonna talk.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm trying to get in. You know what I mean?
It's that whole-
We talked at
low-key
the end of the last one.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get on
For
that.
sure. So, nah, it's gonna be dope.
I don't got nothing else to say, so I think we out.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.